Hello, Virgo. Welcome to your June soul session. I'm Princess India if you're new. And if you're family, welcome back, my friend, and whatnot, or whatever. So, we're going to go ahead and jump into you guys' cards. We're going to be looking at an overall energy and a challenge. And then we're going to be getting into a more specific, spread. What is it with the two cards that keep coming out? Oh, never mind. Now we're on to three. So you guys have two challenges. Let's go with it. All right, let me go ahead and pick the cards for you guys. More specific spread, and let's hop right in. So you guys, overall energy for the month of June, interesting, is Justice in the reverse. That is Libra energy. And this is challenged by two cards, which, oh, interesting. Fascinating. We have the Two of Cups and the Ace of Wands in the reverse. Fascinating. So what it's looking like, Virgo, is in the month of June, what you guys are, well, I'm not going to say what you are, but a potential of what you guys could be grappling with in the month of June is, okay, I was going to say one thing and I just heard another. Okay, I just heard injustice. Okay. I was going to say a misjudgment, but let's go with both. So you guys could be feeling, in a sense, that what it is that's occurring to you, around you, I really don't want to say to you, but it could feel like it's happening to you. But what's going on around you, or what it is that you're witnessing, it's feeling as if it's unfair or unjust, almost like getting the short end of the stick, so to speak, if I could say it that way. But what I was feeling was more or less potentially, but this would be more internal. It's making a misjudgment about something. But then again, both of those kind of go together, because it's, if one would feel as if something is an injustice, whether it's around you, to you, what have you, it could be potentially making a misjudgment about a perceived injustice, if we could say it that way. So what that kind of says to me is that there's a need to gain some objectivity in situations this month, or kind of taking a step back. That would say to me to make sure that you guys aren't being reactionary with what's happening around you, and not necessarily taking things for face value. Now, when this comes to the challenge, I do feel that this is something that would be very near and dear to you guys' hearts. It could potentially be a romantic partner. So, I mean, this could be anything from cheating to oh gosh, that's terrible, to something, God, I don't even want to say that, but I'm gonna say it, to something like, like a person passing away or something like that, or a person you care about being hurt, harmed, or maimed in some way, shape, form, or fashion. I just heard kids, so this could potentially be someone's kid. Not saying something would happen to someone's child, but saying in the sense of something seemingly unfair happening to someone's kid, something happening that seems to be unfair of someone you loved. With this Ace of Wands in the reverse, the vibe I get with this, and that's why it's a lot of stuff I'm picking up with this Ace of Wands in the reverse, it feels, that's why I say it feels like, good God, it feels like something like, let me just say what it is that I'm feeling. It feels like something where someone doesn't get a fair shake, and someone, what is that quote? Like taken away before their time. You know what I mean? But it doesn't necessarily have to be something like someone literally passing away. I mean, that is a possibility, but it just feels like almost like there was an opportunity for something to start, and something had a lot of promise. Gosh, this is a lot of stuff I'm getting. I'm even hearing something along the lines of, like, say if a kid was about to go to college, right? And they decide to hang out with friends one night, and one friend, I don't know, has drugs on him or something, and they end up getting arrested. So that would kind of be the energy signature of, this child had so much promise, but they make a decision to hang out with this person on the wrong night. The person has drugs on him, the kid doesn't know, everybody gets arrested, and it messes up their chance for college. But that not directly happening to Virgo, but happening to, like, Virgo's kid, right? Not saying something like that would literally happen to any of your children, but it's the sense of something like that happening and it being unfair, because it's like they didn't actually do it. They were just in the wrong place at the wrong time kind of vibe. And it coinciding with an opportunity kind of being snuffed out in so many words. And I'll just kind of stick with that. Like, I know that's a very, I mean, exuberant kind of storyline to say, but think of it more as like a hypothetical as opposed to literal. I mean, from what I've learned having this channel for all the time that I have, it's a possibility. Whenever I say things as hypotheticals, they always end up being a real thing. But look at like the baseline energy of that. So like it being a situation to where a person got an unfair shake. So someone that Virgo cares about getting an unfair shake, or Virgo getting an unfair shake, but and it seeming at the time this month to, it's almost like if I were to backtrack a little bit, I hope and pray y'all are following me. But if I were to backtrack a little bit, Virgo would be excited about some sort of new beginning that was projected to happen in the month of June, but something transpires where this is halted temporarily. I wouldn't even say that this is something that would be halted for the foreseeable future. Like, you know, it's a done deal. I wouldn't necessarily say that, but I would say it's something in caliber that's important. It's something that you guys have been looking forward to beginning in the month of June. However, something happens, like some form of hiccup, and it seems very unfair, right? But I feel the reason for that kind of coming up would be because having that objectivity would allow you to see that what it feels like this is, like it could feel like an ending. There we go. Thank you. I said that in someone else in another sign, that it's delayed and not denied, if that's making sense. I hope and pray that's making sense, because I feel more or less that this Two of Cups should be something that carries you through. So even if it's something with a person that's outside of you, it's like not giving up on that person, not instantly cutting that person off, not instantly taking the side, because this feels like so much stuff, y'all. It's like all the scenarios I'm hearing. It's like a person being falsely accused of something, and everything could be set up to where it looks like this person is guilty and they're really not. You know what I mean? But if you were to take like the opposing side and say like this person is guilty or something like that, and they're really not, and it ends up coming out later that they're actually not, like that causing some sort of a rift. Thank you. I'm getting all the things. So it's more or less, this is one of those things where you have to think about the person. Because what it's, and I would even say that, I mean, this would have to be relevant to a cross watcher, but the scenario is kind of like everything would be set up that would make it appear as if Virgo or someone that Virgo cares about a great deal is in the wrong, but that's not actually the case. And the way to know that that's not actually the case is you would really have to look at this person's character. You know what I mean? Because whatever this is we're talking about, it's almost like catching a person, you know, there's a unalive person in front of them with, you know, a gun in their hand. You know what I'm saying? And like they're standing there and everything looks like they did it. You know what I'm saying? But you would really have to look at this person that you know, love, and care about to say like this isn't their character. Like I know they didn't do this type of thing, because I feel like everything is almost orchestrated in a way where the person, from, you know, just looking at the situation, would look guilty, but that's not the case. I have no idea what it is we're talking about. Y'all gonna have to tell me in the comments, child. But that's why I say I keep it simple, just looking at that baseline energy of the fact if something unfair happens, needing to, you know, trust yourself, trust the person, or trust the process. This is already starting off interesting, Virgo. Okay, so getting specific spread your central energy, all right, that's representing you guys. We have the Six of Wands. Your past influence is the Fool in the reverse. That is Aries energy. Your hidden influence is the Eight of Cuppies in the reverse. I feel with that, that's kind of like a fear. Your above energy, interesting, is the Queen of Cuppies. And what to look out for moving forward is the Sun card. Okay. So I feel like this is a temporary hiccup. So with this Fool in the reverse coming out of May and into June, I feel like this is when all of this kind of kicked off. So I feel like the big hoo-ha, or maybe the what is that they call that? That foreboding isn't the proper word. Forewarning. I don't know what the word is for it, but it's almost like the precursor to this occurred in the latter part of May, to where, like I was saying, coming into June, the Virgos that would resonate with this, there is something that you guys were expecting to transpire in the month of June. It's some new beginning you guys were hoping for. I feel like the hiccup in relation to that occurred in the latter part of May. But of course, this is delayed and not denied, right? Because we have the energy here with the Ace of Wands in the reverse. We have the energy here with the Fool, but it's a blocked energy. And I feel what that's about is, like I was saying, with this Justice card, it's like there's some sort of unfair shake or misjudgment or injustice that happened, right? That kind of halted this temporarily. But the beautiful thing about this is with the Six of Wands being here representing you guys, you already have the victory. You've already overcome this. It just may not necessarily feel or seem that way. That goes back to what I was saying initially, of there's a need to have objectivity, or there's a need to go back to like the heart of the matter, in a sense, like this person that you know, their character that you know, or why it is that you decided to do this in the first place, depending on what it is that we're talking about here. But I feel there's a sense of, well, yeah, there is a sense of a rationality that can kind of manifest here with this Fool in the reverse, a rationality and recklessness. And I feel that's why, like, I feel the need to stress so much that there's a need to focus on what this Two of Cups is representing. And especially with it being in the challenge position, it's like, especially if this is someone you care about, and if it is something where the person looks like super guilty, it's like that would be very hard to do, because a lot of times, like sometimes some people will go into denial when stuff like that happens. And they're like, I could never see them doing it. They would never do that, right? But sometimes we're on the other side, to where, especially if you have a lot of evidence, and again, not saying this is a literal thing, but sometimes when you have a lot of evidence and it really seems like a person is definitely guilty, it's kind of hard to give a person the benefit of the doubt. But I feel with whatever it is we're talking about, Virgo, there's a need to give the benefit of the doubt here, and not to jump to conclusions or act too rashly before you kind of get the whole story or the whole picture, because I feel that could be an inhibitor. But to be honest about how I'm feeling, that I don't necessarily feel it would be an inhibitor in reference to how this thing pans out, because with all the rest of these cards, gosh, why are my guides on one today? I just heard relapse. So, I mean, and not saying the person literally relapsed. In the context of what I'm saying, this is, it's almost like you thinking a person relapsed and they didn't. It's like, I don't know, if you have a romantic partner that's sober, and I don't know, you do their laundry or something like that, and you smell something that smells like, you know, alcohol on their shirt, right? And, you know, you instantly are like, I told them if they ever drink again, then I'm putting them out. And it's kind of like jumping to that conclusion and packing up the person's stuff and like putting them out, just jumping to that conclusion. But what I feel the issue or the problem is with this is, when everything kind of clears up and everything is ironed out, it's like I feel the problem that's represented in this Two of Cups is where that relationship will be after all of this clears up. So it's almost like this is like a temporary, I don't want to say like test, because it's not a test. It's just, I don't know, a life hiccup, right? That happens. And well, God, I kind of have to say it is kind of like a test, but it's not like a test from the divine or anything. It's kind of like a crossroads to where it would reveal the truth of where it is you guys really are with this situation or with this person, like how it is you really view this person or this situation, whatever it is we're talking about. You know what I'm saying? And I feel what is getting revealed is what lies in you guys' hidden influence with this Eight of Cups in the reverse, which is saying to me, there's a pattern of behavior that happens here. And it also speaks to avoidance, and I mean, instantly cutting someone off or instantly blocking someone, or, instantly cutting ties or distancing yourself. That's like a knee-jerk reaction for people who have a tendency to protect themselves through avoidance. You know what I'm saying? So it's kind of like something happens and like, oh, I knew this was too good to be true. I knew that this person was horrible. I knew that, this wouldn't work out for me. And you instantly kind of distance yourself. And I feel why all of this is happening is to kind of make that clear. It's to make this, because this is the thing I think is interesting. When it comes to patterns of behavior like this, they're sneaky and they kind of take new forms, right? So we can come to, the realization that we have a tendency to avoid things, but I don't know. It's kind of like a little monster where it'll go underground and you're like, oh my gosh, I'm an avoider, but it'll go underground and it'll manifest as like something else, right? So say hypothetically, if you realize that you, I don't know, like avoid challenges at work, right? And you have this big epiphany about it, right? Because you did some, personal development thing at work and you're like, oh my gosh, I'm totally an avoider, right? But there's not really any targeted work that's done to deal with that, right? And, say some time passes and you start to realize like, oh, I have like no friends, right? And, people give you solutions of like, well, this is what you can do to make more friends. This is what you can do to make more friends. And like each time you're like, oh, well, super busy with work. And then, oh yeah, I could do that, but I don't really have time for that. And then like, oh, I'm not really interested in that. You know what I mean? And those can sound like very valid reasons, but at the same time, what is it doing? It's you rationalizing that you're too busy or you're too this or you're too that, you got too much of this going on that keeps you in the house, not going anywhere and thus still not meeting people. So it doesn't seem the same way that you blatantly avoided, but now it's like you're more covertly avoiding things, if that's making sense. And I feel what this situation is bringing to the fore, like even if it's with another person, if it seems like someone did something to you and you're instantly like, you're blocked, I'm not talking to you anymore. I knew that you weren't sober. I knew that you were a liar. I knew that you didn't change, right? If you jump to that, it still is revealing that even though you may have been looking for change in other people, that you haven't changed at all. It may seem like you have, right? But I feel like this change is coming along to reveal this. And the thing I'm saying is I see this so much, right? And it's one of those things I think in therapy it's hard for me to describe to other people, but anyone who's ever been to therapy, if you've had a breakthrough or an epiphany in therapy, you know exactly what it is that I'm talking about, to where it is that you've been behaving in a particular way and it's changed forms and you didn't realize you were still doing that the first time you ever realized that you were doing something. It's a situation, a catalyst type of situation like this, to where it was revealed. And what this is saying to me as well is that I feel the Virgo who would resonate with this, there's some level of work that you guys have been doing on yourself or have done on yourself past tense, right? To where, and we all get to this place where you get to a place where your kind of baseline and your skills have gotten kind of stale and kind of old. Your coping skills have gotten kind of stale and kind of old. And sometimes we can get into a place where, if you went to therapy and, completed your little 12 sessions of CBT and, it's been 10 years, it's staying in this mindset as if you went to therapy yesterday. It's like, oh, I've already been to therapy. I've already worked on this. I've already worked on that. Like, I'm good. We kind of get at that place to where we're not really learning as much anymore as we used to because we've gotten kind of complacent. I know that happens very rarely in academia. For those of you who are licensed professionals out there, it's like, in order for us to maintain our licensure, we have to, continue to keep learning and gaining, CEUs and stuff like that. So we have to stay on top of it. But unfortunately, when you complete therapy, you don't have to keep, getting continued, what would you call them? Continued recovery units. I don't know, CRUs. You don't have to keep doing that. But it feels like a vibe like that to me, And I'm seeing that with this Six of Wands, it's like being in a headspace of I'm fine, I'm okay. Like I don't want to say it this way, but I have to, Virgo. It's like I don't have any problems. I've been to therapy before. I'm just going to stick with that example. I'm fine, I'm okay. I've been to therapy before. You know what I'm saying? But there's different issues that have kind of risen up. And I'll tell you, like I tell everyone, going to therapy isn't like a one-shot deal. If you went to therapy to process childhood trauma, then you went to therapy to process your childhood trauma. If you have issues with, self-esteem, that would be a whole nother thing. If you went to therapy for childhood trauma and 5 years later your house burns down, it's like, and you're depressed because your house burned down, and you would go to therapy for that because it's something entirely different. It's like going to therapy for childhood trauma, like the skills and resources that you learned then, some of them can be applied to, being depressed because your house burned down, but that's a whole nother set of things. If you went to therapy when you were a single woman and now you're married and you have kids, that's a whole nother set of issues that you don't have coping skills for. So it's not like, therapy isn't like college. It's not a one and done. Why am I talking so much about therapy? Because the Queen of Cups is up here for your outcome energy, and that is my therapist card and tarot. So not necessarily saying that all Virgos everywhere, it would behoove everyone to end up in therapy by the end of June. I mean, it wouldn't be a terrible thing if you want to start slow. The link to BetterHelp is in the description box below this video, but moving right along. But with this Queen of Cups, I feel emotionally there are things that have been repressed or suppressed. There's things emotionally that have not been addressed, and your most idyllic outcome for the end of this month is confronting it. So all of this stuff we've talked about in this challenge that happened in the latter part of May, right? I feel Virgos are in the month of June telling themselves you're okay, but you're really not okay. There's something that is still existing underneath it all. And this isn't like some, subconscious stuff in the recesses of your mind. I feel that there's elements of this that are coming up, but whatever this event is acting as a catalyst to bring this to the forefront and make it very clear that an issue or a problem that you thought that you were over, or a frame of thought that you thought you no longer possessed, or a pattern of behavior that you thought you no longer possessed, is still very much present. And it's something that needs to be confronted. Now, why I say therapist card is because sometimes, because all of you guys are all over the world and everybody got different challenges and issues. Depending on how serious this isn't just something that you can confront on your own, but in the event that this is something deep and something very serious, or it's something you've been grappling with for an extended period of time, or something that you've tried to put work into. So, you went to therapy, you got a life coach, you know what I'm saying? And you're still struggling with this, then this would be an opportune time to reach out to someone else who's a master of whatever the struggle area is to help you navigate through it, right? But the reason why I'm not super duper concerned about this is because what to look out for is the Sun card, right? So I feel with all of this, this is delayed, not denied. So coming into the latter part of June, going into July, I feel that things are going to start to kind of clear up. The truth is going to come out with whatever this is that we're referring to. But again, with the Sun card, it brings me back to this challenge being the Two of Cups. The biggest message and the biggest takeaway for Virgo in this soul session is there's some element of needing to go back to your truth and your authenticity, or your true feelings, or to check in with your higher self, however it is that you want to look at it. It's like, I feel the only way that you guys are going to be able to see clearly with whatever this situation is for you guys specifically, it's going to require you to make judgments like from your home base, not from what it's looking like externally, not from other people's opinions, not just from past experience, right? Like if you've experienced something like this before and you're triggered and just taking for face value, like I've been here before, this is definitely what's happening. This is just like what happened last time, because I feel this situation is not what it seems like. But I feel if you were to not take heed of that and you were to kind of just react, and I think trigger is a perfect example of that. If you were to be triggered and now you're suddenly in your past and you're starting to see the present as your past, and you respond to this situation in a way that you feel like you should have responded to this past situation, I feel like this could make this worse. Because to give an example of that, if if we're talking about the sober partner, right? And this partner's been sober for, I don't know why I keep saying 10 years, but let's go with it. Like this person's been sober for 10 years and you have like this whole freak out and call them like a addict. And it's like, I know you didn't change and you're this, and I should have known this. And you say like all of these horrible things. Then when you find out that that really wasn't the case, those are things you can't take back. Right. And the Eight of Cups in the reverse that would be revealed to this person is like, wow, after all of this progress that I've made, you still see me as an addict. Like you have not seen my growth. You have not seen my progress. You still see me as the same exact person that I was, 10 years ago. And that's something that can't be taken back. That's not something that can be undone. And that can cause a rift in this hypothetical, relationship, friendship, family member, romantic partner, whatever. That can cause a rift in this relationship that can't be mended. You know what I mean? And then it's like we go forward with shoulda, coulda, wouldas, and I didn't mean it, and da 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 da. But it's still something you can't take back. So I feel why all of this is coming up is to give Virgo a heads up so you don't end up putting yourself in a situation that you wish that you could take back, because that's life. I think all of us have been there. You've heightened emotions, triggered, whatever the case, and you end up saying something that you don't mean. And sometimes it's certain things that we say that sorry just can't fix, because it's the fact of like, damn, they really think like that, or they really feel like that. And that's sometimes things people can't, overcome. And those are things that sometimes can't be mended. You know what I mean? And I realized that I was picking value cards for everyone this month. And I literally forgot for the last 3 signs. So I'm going to pick one for you guys, Virgo. Oh, you guys' value for the month is friendship. Interesting. It says to have close and supportive friends. Wow. I wonder if this is a friendship, Virgo. Is this a friendship? If it's a friendship, put friendship in the comments, or those 2 emojis that are holding hands or something, but this could be speaking to a friendship. But with these, I'm picking them for this to be something for you guys, of value for you guys to focus on this month. And I've been telling everyone who I remember to do it for, if you guys want some journal prompts on how to integrate that into your life, let me know in the comments. But anywho, I love your freaking face, Virgo. That's been your soul session. Most certainly let me know what you think in the comments. And again, I love your freaking face.